Utah has faced an epidemic of car crashes in recent years, with this winter being particularly dangerous.
A string of crashes beginning in November of last year has left 4 pedestrians dead, and that includes an 11-year-old girl. Just 3 weeks into the new year, we've seen 2 pedestrians die and multiple others seriously injured, with the majority being children under the age of 15.
2 News' Darby Sparks looks at the numbers and found out why our streets may be inviting these incidents to happen.
October through December are 3 of Utah's deadliest months of the year for pedestrian car crashes. That's according to the DMV. But nationally, these types of crashes have been exponentially on the rise as well. The Government Highway Safety Association calculated that the number of pedestrians killed on our roads has risen by 45% since 2010. And multiple studies seem to show that it's not entirely the fault of the driver or the person walking.
Wait.
Crossing the street is a simple, quick task, but it's also one that can end the life of you or your child.
We've only had 3 weeks this year, and we've already had 12 fatalities on Utah roads, 2 of which have been pedestrians.
2023 had a deadly start. On New Year's Eve, 22-year-old Jaden X crashed a stolen pickup truck into 2 people using a crosswalk on Redwood Road. It killed 1 man on site. 2 weeks later, a 31-year-old man was killed in a crosswalk on 700 East during a hit-and-run involving a Chevy pickup truck.
In the last year, there were 53 pedestrians that were killed on Utah roads. That's 53 families that don't have a loved one sitting at their dinner table tonight.
Jason Metman with the Utah Highway Safety Office says the statistics have been troubling statewide for some time.
In the past 6 years, we've had over 5,000 crashes involving pedestrians here in Utah.
But those numbers don't surprise Alex Craigoon and other members at Sweet Streets, a group that advocates for safer infrastructure in Salt Lake City.
If you look here, you have all of these cars coming back and forth at a very high-speed pace.
He met with me on 700 East, which has been the site of multiple pedestrian-involved crashes.
By design, our streets have been built in a way that prioritizes speed.
He says the street design creates an unfair advantage for cars when pedestrians are the ones that are more vulnerable.
There's a power imbalance there, right? If I'm going and I'm walking across the street, I'm just walking as myself. And so if you're a driver, you're driving a vehicle that is thousands of pounds. Has a lot of force to it.
Sweet Streets has asked Salt Lake to change road infrastructure to allow more lighting, roundabouts, and slower speeds. It's all part of a plan set by Vision Zero, a nationwide campaign recently adopted by Mayor Mendenhall with the goal of reducing traffic fatalities by 75% in the next 30 years.
Certainly, we're going to do everything we can on the built infrastructure that can help prevent fatalities and serious accidents.
And while the Highway of Traffic Safety Office, who keeps all the traffic statistics, wouldn't comment on the design of our roads, they do agree that there's something that remains the #1 cause of these crashes.
More than 50% of these crashes involve drivers crashing straight ahead and failing to yield to the pedestrians when the loss is appropriate.
And children and teens are especially at risk.
39% of these pedestrian crashes involve teens and kids. Last year we had 12 fatalities that were under age 8. Imagine that that's your child walking to school and a driver doesn't see them even in a crosswalk, and they don't get to come home that day.
Local laws have recently sided with Sweet Streets in reducing neighborhood speed limits to 20 miles per hour. But they still have more they want to fight for to make the roads in Salt Lake and Utah safer.
What we're asking for is for UDOT and the city to come together and figure out ways to reduce or eliminate very preventable deaths.
The Highway Safety Office also adds that awareness and education are 2 major factors in preventing more tragedies.
Everyone needs to realize that it's another person in that other vehicle. It's a person that is crossing the road, and it's a person that you need to make eye contact with as you're crossing the road.
Sweet Streets is currently advocating for longer timing on crosswalks, as well as against the expansion of Salt Lake City's I-15. They say that with higher gas prices and more environmental awareness, pedestrian traffic could increase and make a need for these changes in the years to come. For 2 News Investigates, I'm Darby Sparks.
Thank you, Darby. Mayor Mendenhall says that new laws, including a crackdown on using turn signals in turn lanes, could come into effect to combat traffic fatalities in the near future.